Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Reading the Red this Tuesday morning. And it's going to be a lovely sunny day. So take plenty of water. Matthew chapter 22, and we're looking at verse 37. Now, the Sadducees had attempted to try and bring about a challenge to Jesus by tripping him up, enticing him, entrapment, and they failed. And now the Pharisees, they want to have a go at him as well. And so they come at him with a question, and they say to him, in effect, which is the greatest law? And they send, as it were, a lawyer to Jesus to put the question to him. And Jesus responds and says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." You shall love the Lord your God. So they ask the question, in effect, what's the greatest commandment, the greatest law? Jesus says, the greatest law is to love. So the thing to do if you want to keep the law is to love. The greatest law is to love. And I've said that we need to be those who are prepared to love always. So I've coined a phrase, let love win. And that statement, let love win, has helped me incredibly over my lifetime, but never more so than now, as I allow God to use that revelation of truth to me to stimulate me to keep on track with what God has said in this law, to love the Lord your God. So we've got to love, and the first person we need to love is the Lord God. And when our love is directed towards God, then all love begins to blossom. When our love is directed towards ourselves, then love shrivels up into something really not particularly pretty. So God is looking for us to love him. So to love the Lord your God with all your soul, and your soul is your mind, your emotions and your will. And he specifically says to love the Lord your God with your mind. So we need to learn to think thoughts that reflect the things of God, to love God with our mind. Don't let your mind be filled with things that are not lovable. Let your mind be filled with things that love. And the first person we're to love is God. And our soul is our emotions as well. And we need to love God with our feelings. And it's good to be intimate with God, to tell God how much you love him. David, a man after God's own heart, wrote those Psalms, and they're filled with love messages. Solomon, filled with love messages in the wisdom, Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, full of joy and love messages. This sense of Song of Solomon is just intimate. We need to love God with our emotions. We need to love God with our mind. We need to love, and we need to love God. Have a great day. Be blessed, loving God and the world. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me.